Welcome to part 9 of this guide for question 2 paper 5 A-level physics. In this part of the guide, I will be covering the drawing of the worst acceptable line. In the previous video, we drew the line of best fit. Now we are going to be drawing the worst acceptable line, which is similar to the line of best fit, but it has some differences. The rules for drawing these lines are also different. So let's get into the screen and see what mistakes to avoid and what are the rules and tips that you should remember while drawing the worst acceptable line. So when you are drawing the worst acceptable straight line, you will already have plotted your points, you will already have drawn the line of best fit, and you will already have error bars on the graph, as you can see in this situation. So when drawing the line of worst acceptable line on this graph, we need to make use of the error bars rather than the plotted points that are shown as circles. So remember these rules. The worst acceptable line is the steepest or the shallowest possible line. So if you look at these two lines, one of them is very steep, the other one is very shallow. So the steepest or the shallowest possible line you can draw is the worst acceptable line. The next thing to take care of is it should cut all the error bars. If it misses one of the error bars or more than one error bars in the graph, that worst acceptable line is going to be wrong. So you have to draw the steepest or the shallowest possible line while also making sure that it passes through all the error bars. Otherwise, the line is going to be wrong. So we'll do some examples using keeping just these two rules in mind. So what I'll do is I'll draw the steepest possible line on this particular graph. So I'll start from the right of my bottom error bar and end at the left of the top error bar. Right now I've just placed my scale on the graph tentatively. This line, not the final result. Now you can see that there is something wrong with it, and I'll bring your attention to it. If you look at this point right here, you can see that the red line clearly misses the error bar. So this is not acceptable. I will have to adjust my line a little bit so that it passes through that. So what I'll do is I'll rotate my ruler slightly to the left so that the line is now a little closer to the best possible line and it's slightly shallower, but now you can see that the red light does cut the error bar and it touches on the side of it. So make sure that the red line, which is our worst possible line, passes through all the error bars. Another thing to notice here is that because your worst acceptable line is the steepest or the shallowest possible line, it will cut your line of best fit once. So your line of best fit is obviously drawn according to the plotted points. The worst acceptable line is drawn according to the error bars. Because it's the steepest or the shallowest possible line, it will cut through the line of best fit at least once. So if you notice that the line of best fit towards the top is slightly on the left on the green line, but as you reach the bottom, the red line is now on the right of the green line. So in this region somewhere here, the line has actually crossed over, and this is very important. The worst possible line will always cross over the best possible line. If it doesn't do that, then you might have done something wrong. So always check your line properly, and when you have drawn it, check for this thing. Now let's look at the second example. Again, keeping the same two rules in mind, steepest or the shallowest possible line that I can draw while making sure that it passes through all the error bars. So I'll try to draw the shallowest possible line here in this one. So I'll start from the top of the bottom error bar and then pass this through the bottom of the last error bar. Now this is again not the final result. You will clearly see that it's missing a lot of error bars. In fact, it's missing most of them. So I'll adjust this line, bring it downwards, see if I can make it pass through all the error bars. So you are not going to draw the line and then erase it, because then it's gonna erase your error bars and your plotted points as well. So use a transparent scale, a scale which is large enough to cover all the points all at once, and then make sure that it is passing through all of these error bars. If you look at this now, I feel like it is passing through all the error bars. Yeah, maybe I can just adjust this slightly to this side. Now you can see the red line is my shallowest possible line, while also making it pass through the error bars. If it misses any of one of the error bars, then it's a wrong line. Another very important thing, once you are done drawing both the worst line and the best line, is to label them. If you do not label your lines properly, the examiner is not going to know which one is the line of best fit and which one is the line of worst fit. I'm using colors here, but you cannot use colors in your exam. You will only have a pencil with which you can draw these graphs. So it's very important that you label the lines as clearly as possible. Even if they are the same color, but they are labeled properly, the examiner should be able to see them. One more thing that you will notice here is that the line is crossing over. You can see that the line starts out on the bottom. The red line starts to the left of the green line, and then as you go to the top, it is now on the right hand side. So somewhere here the line has crossed over, and it should always do that, otherwise there's something wrong. Okay, let's try one more example. Again, we have a situation where we have the graph already, we have the plotted points as well, and we have the error bars, and we have to draw the worst possible line. This time I'll try to draw the steepest possible line. So start from the bottom of the bottom error bar and the top of the top error bar. This gives me the steepest possible line, but then I have to check whether it passes through all the error bars or not, and this seems to have worked in first attempt. You can see that I can maybe make it even steeper. I can drag this down a little bit, and then it is even steeper while still cutting through all the error bars. It should not miss any of the error bars, and you can see that the red line cuts through all the error bars. Again, labeling both my line of best fit and my line of worst fit is very important. Without that, the examiner is not going to know which is which, and then I cannot get credit for that work. Let's do one more example. This one will be quite easy. I mean, you can clearly see that the error bars are getting huge towards the end, so drawing a line of worst fit here shouldn't be difficult at all. I'll try to draw the shallowest possible line. I'll start at the bottom of the bottom error bar and then go to the top of the top error bar. And when I do that, you will see that it's not the final result, because I haven't been able to cut all the error bars. So what I can do is maybe drag this down a little bit so that it still cuts the bottom error bar. Now you can see that it passes through all the error bars and is the steepest possible line. Again, the rules are steepest or the shallowest possible line that you can manage, but they should not miss any of the error bars, not even once. Alright, I'll see you in the next one.